Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. Today we are here to help you with your live arena rosters. To do that, I'm joined by a very experienced live arena player, none other than Boozor. How are you doing, man?
Hey Nubs, thanks so much for having me on your channel today. So I'm really excited to go over some of these rosters and yeah, share my live arena experience.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little bit about my, I guess, live arena experience. Currently, I'm top 200 in live arena. I'm in gold 3. I love the format. I'm very passionate about the live arena PvP aspect of the game. So I'm happy to bring some experience here and help share that with your audience. So thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Perfect. Yeah, I put out a live arena video earlier in the week, and like from
Yes.
people that watch that, they know I don't play live arena too much. So we're gonna be leaning on you for the expertise. You're free to play as well, right? I saw on your account, but you've been playing for a
Yeah,
long time.
I'm actually I've been playing on about over 3 years. I play two accounts. Both of them are level 100.
Mm.
I made both accounts from day one, and they're both free to play. I actually started playing Raid from a sponsorship, so I was
Oh.
playing another game previously. Yeah, but I focus mainly on one account. It's just more stacked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically fully 100% free to play, like $0 spent on the account. So yeah, that's kind of my thing that's going on there. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
kind of insane to get to like top 200 live arena without literally spending any money. That's quite an
yeah,
achievement. So,
yeah,
yeah, all right, let's see if we can get everyone else, all the viewers here. Let's get them all to the top 200 as well. Let's go.
yeah,
Let's make it, or at least as well as they can do.
yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So, first up, we kind of picked out a few of these together, and thank you to everyone who submitted. We won't get to everyone, but if you enjoy the video, obviously let us know in the comments, give it a thumbs up, all of that, and we can do more of these in the future if you guys want to see. The first submission we're going to look at is from Lil Raven Poe that would love some help with building a good team. Not entirely sure who to use as a nuker, as I mainly use Kale. And then this was his screenshot of his roster. I think we were both looking at it and going like, "Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, you're still using Kale? You've got so many better options." So, do
yeah.
you want to tell us about? I think maybe pick out a couple of the nukers that you're seeing here in the roster that you'd be like, "Why are you not using this guy instead?" Let's move further here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like this account's way beyond Kale. To
Mm.
be honest, like first thing that pops up to me is Sun Wukong.
Yeah.
Sun Wukong is an excellent nuker. He doesn't need accuracy. You can give him a little bit,
Yep.
but if you focus mainly on damage for him, he'll deliver a huge smack with his A2, his single target smack.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like the small trick to do with Wukong is that you use his A2 and target the champion with the lowest health, so that his excess damage will be quite large, spread across the whole team. So that would be my first pick
Mm-hmm.
for nuker. Moving further down his roster, he has other champions that are not built out yet, like Rhonda and Xena. Both of them are very good nukers, but a little bit more situational.
Yeah.
Wukong would be the most general and most powerful nuker that he probably has right now. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be my pick to focus on for sure.
Yeah, that's a great one. Well, can I ask you actually, where do
Mhm.
you fall in terms of, or like, where should an account be for Nuke Wukong versus like a pure support buff strip Wukong, like super speed, landing polymorph?
I'm purely looking at his roster based on like a needs basis right
Yeah.
now. So like he needs a good nuker, and right now Wukong is by far the best nuker that he has. And to use him in a support role would be to waste him in that spot. That's kind of like my thinking right now.
Yeah.
Um, if your account has lots of nukers, you can definitely use Wukong in a support role.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a very good nuker for sure. I think as a nuker, he is probably better overall. Like if you had to blind pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, for me, I use both. I started off using a high accuracy support Wukong, and then I went back to a DPS Wukong myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've been lazy. I just slapped him in DPS day one, and I was like, I like this, and I've been lazy, and I've stuck to it.
yeah.
But hey,
No,
there
he's
you
good.
go.
I think that's the default. As a default, he's very good as a DPS. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would also say for this guy, like Herndeg is not like a top tier
Hmm.
nuker, but he's got him at level 60. There's a decent chance he has him booked. And like if you've already got him built up and booked and you're probably using him in lots of places, like at this point in the game, you know, there's absolutely no harm in having him be a nuker as well, right? Compared to like Xena is obviously better than Herndeg, but you know, it's going to be a lot of investment for him to get Xena up and running. So
Yeah.
like in the short term, like Herndeg could be more than good enough, and he's certainly much better than Kale. There's no question there.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
there we go. What sort of champs do we do quickly touch on, like some of the supports that he might want to combo with these sort of champs like here?
I mean, the thing that stands out right now is that his Mithrala is at level 50. His Mithrala definitely is a top tier arena champion, especially based on his roster.
Hmm.
So
Oh yeah,
you
down
should
here.
definitely get Mithrala going.
Yeah.
I think everybody else he can kind of maybe conserve some resources with. Nobody else is really like too great in live arena, but Mithrala definitely should get a lot of attention from him. Like
Hmm.
Stone Skin or Shield or Bolster sets for her are very good. So
Yeah, yeah. And he's got like Emic and
Emic, yep.
UDK. That's a very nice combo. I think
Prisk, of course, yeah.
Risk is decent as well. Like Arbiter, obviously, with these attack based nukers, you can't go too
Mm.
wrong. I don't know if you've used either of these in live arena. I think are they good for live arena? You think at this level?
I don't have Archer personally, and
Yeah,
my Altreon is not geared yet. So,
right.
but I wouldn't focus him on live arena. I think.
No, yeah, no,
Um, Quick note actually is Nishak. If he's short on DPS, Nishak can actually work in some spots too.
yeah, I
As a high
agree.
accuracy bomb. Yep. So definitely
Yeah,
look into him.
like I mean, you're probably you're not going to be like you're not Lil Raven Poe's not going to walk into live arena and beat like me or you, but for people that he's playing against at a similar level, like I look at this, probably the biggest problem for bombs has been uh coming in and having really strong cleansers and obviously having really strong polymorph. Like he's got no one. If he's fighting someone of a similar level, no one's going to have polymorph or at least strong enough to really get in its way. And like he doesn't have, like you said, Mithrala, she's not built yet. Cleanser's not really there either, so bomb
Yeah.
champions can be super viable. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, cool. All right, great. So that's Lil Raven Poe. Excellent. Let's jump on over. I thought this one was one I picked out. I thought was interesting because we've got some very strong options, but like a very specific limitation. This is from Jess. Said, would love some advice for live arena. I only have squishy revivers. So I thought this was an interesting one because I feel like the safe way often to play is, oh, I gotta have like one or two like really tanky revivers, and I go in and it's this solid stable option. What would we do in this sort of situation, or where would you be looking, or types of teams where you go in and you see this in high end live arena? People go in, they don't have any revivers at all, oftentimes, which I think people sort of sleep on that strategy a bit. What do we think about this account? Actually, has
Yeah, I think
this guy.
Jess is right. Like she does lack like a full team support, full team revive.
Yeah,
I see Uko as as a team revive, but he's not really like tanky support that's going to be
right.
the last champ standing often to
Yeah.
save your team. But she does have some options. Like for example, she can she can play Wukong. Wukong has a self revive, so you don't really need a reviver for Wukong.
Yes.
Um, Somebody like Hefrak and Stone Skin is kind of like he can dish out big damage when your team goes down. Um, Obviously, Cardio has the revive on death, so you can open revive on death.
Yeah.
Yeah, this the same idea with Tormin as well, same as Wukong. He has the secondary, he has a secondary on his passive where he stays alive. So it's kind of like the same idea.
Where's the Torment there? I'm blind. Hang on.
Oh, Tormin 45, level 45.
Oh, he's way down. Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
level
yeah, he's a
45.
he's a great damage dealer for live arena,
Yeah.
especially against like speed teams, especially they're putting out buffs and don't have a cleanse. Yep.
Yeah, lately I've been loving Tormund myself. He's a
Yeah.
great kind of like checkmate pick at the end.
Mhm.
So or you can go down the like fast speed route. He has some great fast champions or fast team champions like Lady Mikagi. So you come in fast, or Arbiter into Mikagi, and then Mikagi CCs the team. Also, he has Yumiko. Yumiko is great for obviously the fast lockout. So he
Mhm.
can play it that way. So you don't really need the, you're not going to get hit to the point where you need a reviver. So you
Yeah.
don't need to really lean on the reviver rule too much. But there's definitely some strategies Jess can look into here. What do you think, Nubs?
Yeah, I agree. I just circle. He's got the Harima as well, which is like 5 stars. That's very strong. And again, she is a very tanky nuker. So that'd be the sort of
Yep.
stuff I'd be looking at. Again, like you said, we're sort of picking out the tanky nukers here. Wukong can keep himself alive with his passive, or not dead with his passive, I guess is more accurate. We've got
Mhm.
defensive nukers that are very tanky, and Torment, Harima, Stone Skin on him. Like you're probably going to avoid the more standard like attack based nukers that do need a lot of support. Um, yeah, like you said, you could totally go a speed team. Like ally attack is really powerful. Get in first, start killing them off in live arena. Yumiko often warrants a ban. Like you can threaten the speed even without having, like the arbiters or the Sifis or whatever. That's very strong. Like we've got Emic as another decent sort of support option as well if you wanted. Even like a Valkyrie could be good. Get up a big shield. Which again you could cut into speed teams. So I also, this mythical may be good. I actually don't even remember what he does, to be honest.
I've never seen that mythical before.
No, right? Yeah. I've been so, but like I get all the mythicals on the test server, like to test out, and I usually don't even bother because like no one's gonna get them for ages. I'll do a video when I get them, maybe, but yeah. So we've got options there. We've got Lissandra potentially for speed as well. So yeah, but yeah, this is an interesting one. It is really focusing on saying, okay, the limitation is, I don't have a tanky reviver, so yeah, playing more. I would be playing more around the ally attack and the lockout, tanky damage dealers or with survivability. And yeah, I think you've got really strong. This actually is pretty scary. I'd be pretty scared to fight this account. Like he comes in, and he's like, Lady Mikage, Harima, Yumiko. You're kind of going, oh my god, this is a nightmare already just from those 3 picks. You throw in like a Cardiel, the Wukong, and you're going, oh, who do I ban in this horrific situation? It's tough. But
those are really good. Those are really good supports because they cover a lot of different aspects. So you have Mikage for the strip, so you can't really come in with like you can't really come in with like Hellcat to check them, and then you have the lockout obviously, and then you have a cleanser too. So it's actually a really hard trio to deal with. It is on the squishy side, of course, so you can stack up like 3 bolsters set supports and then try to outlast them. But yeah, those 3 are very good together. I'm surprised I don't see like a UDK here or.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, there is no UDK, which is crazy. He's so powerful, especially with I love him with Wukong. The 2 together is just a nightmare for people to deal with. Again, you add that in, and it can be very tough to kill a Harima or a Wukong properly. Like when there's a UDK in there protecting, especially with like Mikage is just. I'm really looking forward to getting her. I think she's like next level, really.
Oh, she's absolutely bonkers. Even at the high tiers, she's awesome. So
yeah, you can either just wipe someone out with an ally attack, or you switch your form too, just AoE stun with turn meter control. She's got like a CFA 1 almost. Kind of insane. Right, let's jump over to the next one where we've got tons of options. This is actually the first person who submitted a roster, so I thought this would be a nice one to pick. This was Larix. That love to get some advice for live arena. Normally, I try to go for Wukong, UDK, and Python and counters to their team, but I often feel like I only have 6 champions. I don't know what to do if they pick them. So again, what I thought was interesting about this one is, like at first glance, I was going like, wow, there's way more than 6 champions in here. Obviously, Wukong, UDK, Python are some of them, but yeah, what do we think about this, Rod? Like, who would you be looking at here with this one?
Yeah, the roster is super deep. First thing that stands out to me is a Warlord. I don't know why Warlord is not in his top 3, not number 1 pick that he should be picking.
Right. Lockout's so good.
Yeah, Lockout's so good. Personally, I have a Warlord myself, and he's in my best gear for his role, and I pick him, super high percentage of the time. However, I have to say that Warlord of all the Lockout champions is probably the one that will age the worst. That's in my opinion, because obviously mythicals are coming, or they're here, and over time people will have more and more of them. So Warlord in particular will lose more value over time. So unlike somebody like Yumiko, which has a special interaction with herself, so that's why we see Yumiko in Hydra, and obviously Crixia, which is super busted because she has a secondary, she has a bunch of other stuff going on, not just locking out.
If they go first and lock you out, she just switches form and resets your team skills as well. So
exactly. Hey, so she has some other things that are busted about her, but Warlord's the one that's probably going to fall off the radar first. But in its current form, it's still very good because not everybody has jacked up mythicals yet. So Warlord would be my number 1 focus. Make him super fast with good accuracy. Stone Skin would be ideal because he has to deal with Taras. Taras has the built-in passive fear, which will shut him down half the time. So unfortunately, he needs Stone Skin if you want to tackle Taras's. If not, just high accuracy and speed, and then just slot him into any team.
Yep.
So I would go Warlord for sure. He stands out to me.
Okay. We only need like
Yeah.
3 more champions, and we got more than 6. So we're
Yeah, yeah.
started well here.
Yeah, Torment would be another great pick. However, he's not like a generalist. He's more like a, like I said, like a checkmate kind
Yeah.
of pick at the end.
Hmm.
Um, Mithrala stands out a little bit as well as a solid cleanser for him. He does have Pytheon,
Hmm.
but Mithrala is also, she can be built in high resistance in a high resistance build.
Yeah.
Suzin is another one where he can steal the speed advantage, go first. So you can do
Yes.
some fun stuff there.
One thing I saw, I
Um,
didn't see an arbiter unless I missed it. I'm blind.
yep, it's between the Torment and the
Oh yeah, there it
Warlord.
is. Yeah, so he's got the 2 options for speed, like with the Shuzan or the arbiter, like go
Mhm.
first, nuke, kill you potentially. All right.
Yeah, usually like what I find is that people just put their best gear, like their fastest gear on Suzin, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
yeah,
because
so
she's like Arbiter 2.0 in a big way. Doesn't have the revive, but for speed,
mhm.
way better. Yeah,
Yeah, so he has some options. He has some options here for but I think those supports are very strong.
yeah,
For his DPS, Rhonda's there,
hmm,
Wukong's there. He has Kandrafon, which is like not as good anymore because of Harma,
yeah.
but he's still a viable option sometimes.
Hmm. It is a plus.
Um,
It is a +1, so that's nice. The
yeah,
Ronda's 4-star, which is really nice. I like that myself.
yeah,
Um,
really nice.
can I ask you about Nogdar? Because he does have a 5-star awakened Nogdar. Is Nogdar good for Live Arena? Like I've never actually seen anyone use him.
I ran into Nogdar a handful of times, and I've been
Okay.
surprised at how good he is.
Okay.
He
Okay.
he has that health. Uh, I forgot what it was, like a health
The
swap.
health swap. Yeah, yeah,
Health
yeah,
swap.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of nasty. I don't know, but I haven't used it myself. So, but
Fair.
I've seen him use the high effectiveness against me.
Okay. So he's a
But
strong option too. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you got him 5-star awaken, like that's a bunch of stats. That's becomes tempting.
yeah. So yeah, it looks tempting for sure. He
Hmm.
has Hefrak sitting there. Hefrak's usable, but he suffers from the same fate as Kandrafon. As soon
Yeah.
as Harma hits the board, he's kind of useless. So
Right. Right.
yeah. So I've seen some tests with Samson. Samson is the spirit
The monkey,
gorilla.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
monkey. Yeah, I've seen some tests with him. He has a double hit if you kill someone, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, I think his double hit's similar to like Magnar's double hit, like in terms of power. So he can smack, but he has to conditional hit someone.
Yeah.
But might be an option since it's
Hmm.
60 already.
True. True. Yeah.
But he does have a lot of gold, but there's not a lot of
He does.
super strong champions there.
Yeah. Like he doesn't have the top meta stuff for sure. But
Yeah.
hey, there we go. A lot of options for nukers, supports. I mean, I'll also throw in like Lanathril. Like he's not
Hmm.
bad for Fire Knight, and again, he could switch his gear onto Lady Mikage when you get her. He could actually be a decent sleeper pick that no one is gonna pick or probably ban in Live Arena, and
Hmm.
you could maybe just start wiping them out the ally attack. Certainly not top tier, but it's worth considering. Like Emic is also a good support. Like Baron for damage again could be an option. Just
Yeah,
simple.
fair.
If you get a turn, you could kill him. So yeah, I think there's actually quite a lot of stuff in here that could be quite good. So there we go.
Hmm.
All right, Larix, you've got more than 6 options now. Hopefully that sets you up well. Let's take a quick look at this. So this was, oh yeah, you wanted to talk about this one. Tiny Teeth, free to play in Gold 1. I've been playing a while, and there's a few champs I should have built by now, but I haven't. So do you want to talk about that in terms of any of the stuff that he has that should have been built, but hasn't
Yeah,
been yet?
yeah. So this account definitely looks like there's some champions that are on the bench that probably should not be on the bench.
Okay.
Um, so I see like Python hanging down there at level 49. I see Helicath hanging down there at level 49. Like these are just
Oh.
solid arena champions, right?
Yeah,
Live
yeah.
arena champions. Mx down there at 47. He can definitely be used as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they look
Alfred's
like they're in
okay.
the process of being built, right? You even got Goffred. Yeah, I saw you mark Goffred there. He's actually a very interesting and actually kind of difficult champion to deal with. So he's
Mm.
definitely worth it there. So he's got 4 good supports down there. I see Ramantu at 59.
Yeah.
So Ramantu is more of a situational pick, but I do
Mm-hmm.
pick him quite a bit in Gold 3. I have him in a DPS build actually, so he
Oh
can be
yeah.
my solo DPS champion.
Yeah. I've run into
depending on the
that a
team.
few times, and I've been like, that's actually quite a cool build. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then in terms of his like 60 champions, like he has some very solid options. Like gold one should be no issues for this level of account. Like in terms of champion,
Yeah,
he
I mean,
has
we've got
Harma,
Tara,
you got the
Sarima, Rotus,
Taurus,
like,
yeah,
bro.
Rhodos, Duchess is there, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like,
Necret.
yeah, what else has he got? Yeah,
Altus
you
is
got
quite good.
Necret, yep. Stultus is there. Yeah, Stultus, yeah.
Hmm.
You know, very good
Arbiter.
account. Yeah,
Rala is good.
lots of options. Arbiter,
Brogni.
yeah.
Brogni can be kind of niche. Yeah, he's got tons of
Mhm.
stuff. Uko. Yeah, so we've got a lot of
Yeah.
options. But yeah, they're the big ones, I think, for sure. That, yeah, we could see on the bench. Absolutely, that you want to have in the toolkit. Um,
I don't see Wukong anywhere.
yeah, that is kind of weird. You're right.
Yeah.
Wukong. And is there an Ultimate Death Knight? Or is that
And
not
no
there?
Ultimate Death Knight.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, they're two big ones that aren't there. So I wonder if he maybe missed those or so. I'm not sure. But they'd
Yeah.
be definitely on the list. Absolutely build them. They're picked literally all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, hey, cool. Okay,
Very
Tiny
good.
Teeth. There you go. You got four more support leaning champs, but very strong.
Mhm.
All right. Let's take a look then at T Fern. 117. He says, I do decent in live, but I could certainly use some more inspiration or motivation for it. Low and gold one. Just recently started re-gearing some champions, Sifi, Yumiko, Harima, and Monkey as the main ones. So 4 really strong picks for Arena specifically. The main struggle is nukers and deciding whose builds to prioritize after giving my best sets to the 2 I've already mentioned. One or both of whom are usually chosen by my opponents. So that's always a tricky thing, isn't it? Where, like, yeah, you've got your best gear and your best champs, but like when they're the best champs in the game, someone else picks them, it can be like, oh no, there it goes. So yeah, what do we think about this one? I mean, Mark in the ones he set, so he's got the
Yeah, it's that's gonna be a gear and roster issue. Like eventually your roster will just be built out so that all your best champions will have your best gear.
yes.
But even for like myself, I'm a pretty like end game player.
Mm-hmm.
My nukers get pretty thin after about 4. Like
Yeah.
after my 4th or 5th nuker, it's super thin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if my opponent picks 2 of my best nukers, I'm left with 2 good nukers. But what if those 2 nukers are just not the right nukers in the situation? Then I have to pick like 5th or 6th, and then it's kind of like, oh, these are so bad. So it's a problem for everyone. So don't worry about that.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
obviously your best accuracy, speed gear is going to be on your best champions, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just circling
so
like a few supports to throw in there that you probably would want to have built out, like Python for a cleanse, Helicath, UDK, like straightforward stuff, maybe with Rala. Let's
yeah,
focus that you and then
yeah.
on the nukers more so. Like, what would you go
Okay.
for if they're the first 2, UDK, Harima, have the best gear? Let's say I
Yeah.
can only gear 1 or 2 more out of all these options. What would you
Okay.
go for here?
Okay. So the best thing about this is that Wukong and Harma use different gear. So one's
Yeah.
attack based, one's defense based. So that's great. So you kind of split your gear up that way.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, obviously, in terms of nukers, you have Rhonda. I see Rhonda there. She's
Yeah.
attack based. She's,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, she's less of a general attack champion. So she might not warrant your 3rd best
Mm-hmm.
DPS gear. In the same kind of breath, I see Candrafon sitting there. So if you, for some reason, pick Harma, but you lost Wukong, you can lean on Candrafon because now you have Harma, which is your main counter to Candrafon. So you can safely bring Candrafon in. So you could go Candrafon Ronda,
Okay.
but for me, that's kind of what I see for his next 2 best options. Wukong, yeah, I wouldn't shy too far away from picking Wukong kind of early, I think, but you do have such really good, strong supports.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sifi, like you're going to use your best picks on those ones, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get Harma with Sifi, that's obviously very good. With the defense up, they work very well together. But yeah, you have great support picks. Duchess, I see chilling. I see UDK
Oh,
there
yeah.
chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was the
Another champion
Duchess?
that's actually really good
there.
on this roster is actually Inithwe.
Oh,
Inithwe,
yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Inithwe is really good to counter Wukong. So if somebody picks
Mm-hmm.
Wukong, you can pick Inithwe, and then that really checks him. The
Would
problem with
you?
Neathway is that he's squishy. So just like any other nuker, you need ways to bring him back or to protect him. So since I don't see net crit, it's going to be fast in Neathway,
Okay.
or it's going to be a way to get him to go first, or a way to bring him back in a tanky or slow team. But I think this is like a fast account. You got Sifi and Yumiko, so both of them are very fast.
Yes.
And Duchess can protect too. So I think Neathway works well here. I wouldn't put him in like my super good gear, but
Hmm.
he's definitely a viable option.
I put him in there as like number 5 behind Candrafont Ronda. Do you think that's right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be it.
Okay.
Ronda can be very annoying. She checks a
Yeah.
lot of the a lot of champions nowadays. Like with the A2 passive lock, like she can even kill like Taros in
Yeah.
some spots, checking his passive. Yeah,
Yeah. I've started using her more now myself as well because of that. So yeah, she's
yeah.
good. She's good. All right, we've got a couple more to go through. This one I thought was again a much earlier one. Looks like a bit of a spender to me, and we've got all sorts of mad things happening here. This is uh, Dabvid AF, but like we've got mad, like he's got a +1 5-star ascended newt, which is just crazy. Bro, you should have kept that other. It's too late now, but
Okay.
multiple newts is good. You have multiple. So, and then we've got, I was thinking like, gosh, we've got ended up with Queen Eva and Narma the Returned as 2 of his 60. So that's a bit rough. What we say about this, like an early spender, clearly.
Yeah.
Let me see what sort of stuff. He's got tons of stuff he could potentially build. What would be like your first bet here? Like I'd be kind of leaning towards saying in this situation, it's like just build generally good champions, and hey, if they
Mm.
carry over to live arena, that's nice. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, personally, I like the champion that stands out to me would be again Wukong. Wukong, like he
Yeah,
can play every role, right? So he can do a big carry
he's,
for
he's,
this
he's
account.
got a 4-star as well, right there.
Yeah, there you go. So he can definitely lean on Wukong. Another champion that I see at 50 that can be really good is Mashald. Mashald,
Mm,
especially in the early arena, is incredibly difficult to deal with, where people like he's a 50 in the middle, but
so
he can
I'm just
basically
blind.
almost hard CC a whole team with that doesn't have stone skin. So in the early arenas, not everyone's stacked up with stone skin. So the hard CC really is a big issue for people. So Mashal, and he's generally a good dungeon carry too. So for this account, it'll probably be useful in just general dungeon areas.
Took me so
Um,
long to find him there. I was just like
yeah,
overwhelmed, like deer in the headlights. Couldn't do it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
like you said, he'd be very good for again like Doom Tower and Curse City and anything like that. Like he's gonna carry you with the AoE fears, so you've got the
Mhm.
double benefit of the early arena and also just general content too.
Yeah, and obviously, like I don't see Helicath here, but Roshgar is actually a very good substitute. The
Yeah.
block damage is going to be a big trouble for a lot of people to deal with, especially early on. So
Yes.
definitely useful. I see Candrafon there. He's great DPS, especially for the arena. Very hard to deal with, especially without Harma. Um, yeah, right next to
Yeah, I got
Wukong.
him.
Yep, got him. Okay. Let's see what else. Don't see anybody else too interesting. I've seen some people use Blood Gorge, but that's going to be with some pretty good gear. He has a block revive, so
Yeah.
he works similar to like Inithway, but for an early account, I wouldn't lean on such a specialist for now. So
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah. Probably
yeah.
not yet. But maybe
Anything you
in
see
the
there?
sorry?
Yeah. Anything you see there?
Um Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, again, I'd be kind of looking more towards like I'd even say Godseeker and Neri. She's not obviously top tier in arena, but she's fine. She's good, and like she's kind of a necessary champion for most people for things like Sand Devil. Really good for Iron Twins, for Hydra. So she's a really nice, versatile pick you can bring in. Like even a Seer is obviously for most people progressing is going to get really good gear, and she can be fine. Like as a weird nuker in arena, like she might work maybe
Mm-hmm.
at the start. So
Yeah.
that's good. Again, Tormin, I think as
Torment.
well, like very much like the Mashald. He's excellent for. Well, he's better than Mashald, I'd say overall in arena, entering the
Yeah.
speed teams. But then he can also be really good for Doom Tower, Curse City, anywhere where you need crowd control and like constant AOE's.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be saying
Ins-
for stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. Insane that he was a guarantee, basically
Right.
guarantee champion.
Yeah, that's
Insane.
probably how this guy got him from the looks of it. Like, it looks like a newer account that's spending a good bit and was probably able to do that guaranteed. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
cool. And then I had one final one, which I thought was just like an interesting sort of little case study because it's a really small roster, but he's got some really good champions. So I was wondering if we had any thoughts on this one. This is Postscript UN. I don't know if he's from the United Nations or what, but Postscriptin. Sorry,
Uh-oh.
let me move this.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, there we go. We're good. We're back
Uh,
on track. I forgot to make this one the right size.
all
So
right. First, like obviously, you got Wukong, you got Tormin, you got
yeah.
Duchess. Those are great top 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
What else are we looking at? Arbiter, obviously, very solid pick as well. Rector can be kind of like a reviver in a pinch.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else he's got here. Actually, I mean, depending where he's at, Maneater could be very tricky to deal with the unkillable. If you
Yeah.
get that out quickly.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great call actually, because again, like
Yeah.
if you imagine an early game account, you get a man eater for so many people. It's like, oh my god, I must build him, and he's gonna be in like you're probably some of your faster. I remember when I got man eater, it was tough to get him to the speed required for clan boss, you know. So he might be in
Mhm.
some of your better gear, and yeah, like you said, most people will have Wukong, but if you get that Wukong, you start throwing unkillable on your team. Like for example, if this account was fighting a man eater, he'd have a nightmare of a time. You just have to wait for the unkillable to
Yeah.
fall off, really, unless you got
Yeah.
Wukong. So
Another Magnar could be a pretty decent AoE nuker as well, especially in the lower ranks. Couple champions here that we haven't actually talked about would be like Glycea. Glycea, she was basically introduced to counter like Warlord and Lockout.
yeah,
Although her passive is not 100% check on that, it's like a 50% chance to freeze the champions that's locking you out. It's
right.
it's not very good. Like you still get locked out, and then you only have a 50% chance of freezing the person that locked you out. It's like who cares?
Yeah, yeah.
She does bring some nice team buffs and an AoE freeze. So she
Yeah.
has multiple utility there. I see a 3-star on her already, so maybe she can be useful that way.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I'd say like for this
Yeah.
level of account, I'd say yeah, why not? Like you're going to be going up through Tag Arena, and you're going to get really stuck on people at lockout. You know, it could give you an option. Like it's super RNG. You know, it's just throw the dice. But hey, and like the AOE freeze, it could be decent as well. So why not?
And another champion is actually Blizzard. Blizzard actually works quite well for Arena because he has a basically passive that brings him back. He has an AoE freeze. He has team buffs, and then he has an A1 that can triple freeze. So he has a little bit of CC. He can stay alive, and he can protect your team. So at this level of account, I think he can be pretty useful as well. So
Definitely. Well, about 5-star, what Mistress of Hymns is it? Would you be like, he's got the 5-star? That a first
maybe
pick?
if she had the big continuous heal.
Maybe. All right. Well, look, there we go, guys. That was a bunch of accounts again. We had a lot more submissions, but we can't get to everyone. So yeah, I mean, let us know what you thought of this. We hope you enjoyed. We can do more in the future if you guys want to see more. But for now, we're going to jump over to Boozor's channel, and we're going to talk about some underrated picks, some sleeper OP potentially champions. For like silver 4, gold 1, that sort of area of live arena. So we're not talking about the top where it's always the same stuff. We're talking about where you got a little bit of flexibility and can be creative and actually win some fights. So yeah, we can jump over to do that. Anything you want to say before we go, Boozor?
No, I'm good. I just want to say I really enjoyed my time, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk about some live arena stuff. So hopefully you guys have really enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon.
All right, great. Thanks guys for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.